Hi, I'm Claire Sarnowski, and I'm 11 and a half years old, and I am a sixth grader at Lake Ridge Junior High in Lake Oswego. My mom was diagnosed 21 years ago with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. That means I have only known my mom with this disease. Some may think that being a child of a person with a chronic illness like MS is a disadvantage or an obstacle. But for me, it is the only way I've ever known my mom, and she is really no different than my friends and everyone else's mom. My mom having a disability has been an advantage for me. For that, I have gone to many medical appointments and programs which have sparked my interest in the medical field. I hope to be a doctor someday so I can help people. I also got to accompany my mom to a MS conference in Boston when I was 3 years old. There, I met many people who were surrounded in MS with many different ways. Some were at advanced stages of MS and others weren't. It was very eye-opening and shocking for a 3-year-old to see how many people were affected by this disease. Meeting those people that made me aware of the need to fundraise and help fund research for treatments made me realize that I wanted to find a cure one day. My parents had pushed me in the stroller at Walk MS previously when I was a baby, but after that conference, I wanted to fundraise on my own and do my own work. That year, my parents walked me around our neighborhood, and I would go up house to house on my block, and I would explain my mission of wanting to find a cure for MS. Many people thought I was an adorable 3-year-old, but I didn't want them to think that. I wanted them to think that I was a determined, hardworking person who wanted to find a cure for MS. That year, I raised about $1,500 at just 3 years old. The next year, I learned that one of my preschool teachers had MS too, and so I had yet another reason to fundraise. This really opened my eyes that everybody is surrounded by MS in some way or another. I was shocked to have people tell me many times that they knew someone or had a family member with this disease. Again, it reminded me why this was a must for me. That year, I raised $1,900 as a 4-year-old. The following year, the National MS Society Oregon chapter asked me to speak and help kick off the MS Walk. I was 5 years old and addressed the 4,000 walkers and attendees. I broke the $2,000 fundraising mark that year, which I was very proud of. When I was 6, I kicked off the MS Walk yet again, but this year I did it with a former Portland Trailblazer, Jerome Kersey, like she mentioned. It was announced during the kickoff that I was $100 short of making my personal goal I had set for myself, which I really wanted to achieve. Jerome took out his wallet and handed me the $100, which meant I made my goal. That, for me, was an extra boost that helped me keep going with my fundraising. The following year, I kicked off the walk again, but this time with the local news broadcaster, Pete Ferryman from Fox 12 Oregon. I increased my walk total to over $5,000 that year. I've raised money for MS in other ways too. I was asked to be the MS representative dancer at a fundraiser in Lake Oswego for the Lakewood Center of the Arts that split half the proceeds to Caddies for Cure, which is a charity I worked closely with them with a junior MC at their auction and at the MS Society, which I have had a ton of experience with. And it was a Dancing with the Stars type dance competition, which brought in money, and I danced a Lindy Hop with a professional partner, raising $8,500 that night. I've continued being a voice for MS when I was asked by the local charity, Caddies for Cure, to serve as junior MC as their gala event at the Tiger Woods Center at Nike World headquarters. Working with MCs Mike Bear and Mike Rice, announcers for the Blazers. They made a video about my fundraising and showed it at the beginning, showing me making the friendship bracelets I made and sold it as a fundraising tool. That evening, they auctioned off 15 of bracelets, raising over $3,000 that night for Caddies for Cure, who supports families from Randall's Children's Hospital and the MS Society. Jerome Kersey was an active member of Caddies, and because of my fundraising with him, when he suddenly passed away last year, his death had a huge impact on me. KATU Channel 2 interviewed me about my connection with him, and because of the story, a viewer donated an autographed basketball to me from the 91-92 Blazer Dream Team. Even though the viewer gave it to me and was fine with me keeping it, I followed my heart and did what I knew Jerome would want, auction off for MS, helping people besides myself. Last year, I was number 5 top fundraiser for the MS Walk in the state of Oregon, raising $10,300. Because of this, I was invited to the National MS Society Leadership Conference in Fort Worth, Texas in November. This taught me that no matter who you are, no matter what you come from, or no matter what age you are, you can always make a difference somewhere and somehow. I was the youngest attendee invited of the 900 people, and I am one of the youngest fundraisers, and I still raise more than most adults who raise money, which I'm very proud to say. My perseverance has helped me overcome the obstacle of not having an employer who can match my gifts and having friends who are younger and can't donate as much. Currently, I am the #2 fundraiser for the Portland Walk with $6,405, or 64% to my goal of $10,000. The person who is #1 has 5 donors, and I have 70, which shows me that even though I don't have as much money as the #1 person does, I still am making a difference in raising awareness for this disease. I've not only been successful at raising money, but also raising awareness about this disease and meeting new people who had no clue and some who had tons of clue about what my mission was all about. Probably the biggest obstacle I have overcome this year has been my diagnosis of severe amblyopia. It is where the vision in one of the eyes is reduced because the eye and the brain are not working together properly. The eye itself looks normal, but it is not being used normally because the brain isn't talking or favoring the other eye. I really did not notice the difficulty this caused me until this year, which was my first year of middle school. My eyes were challenged to see things more in depth, like in art class. I couldn't notice the shading or the imaginary lines that were in a picture I drew. I really didn't understand how much it's changed my life. I had trouble measuring shapes and the lines on a ruler blended together except the numbered inch, and I knew that the line was in between the numbers was ½ an inch, which was really an eye-opener to me in math. After my diagnosis, I was put on a 504 plan to get help from my teachers to accommodate my vision deficits. I began vision therapy, which meant I work with a vision therapist each week in Beaverton. I do 30 to 45 minutes of vision therapy 4 times a week, which is very difficult to fit into my busy schedule. Even with this diagnosis and its huge time commitment of therapy and change to my life, I've successfully earned a 4.0 GPA, and I've earned merit distinction in all 4 of my core classes, which is a challenge. I'm on track to do the same this trimester. For me, I had the same teacher from kindergarten through 2nd grade who is in the audience tonight, who taught me that I could do whatever I put my mind to and do my best and I would succeed. I can assure you that her advice was correct, and I have adopted it as my life motto. I would like to give all of you the same advice. No matter your age or what obstacles you face, keep trying. You will succeed. Thank you.
We'd like to also present you this award, the Certificate of Excellence. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Alexander Crisculo. He's a student here at MLC. He's a senior this year, and he has also been accepted into Portland State University.